everyone to another Astral interview, and here with me I have Rocky Krogfoss once again. And we've had many meetings with Rocky, of course, and we enjoy every one of them. And today we're gonna go with the flow and see what we learn about Rocky. I do want to cover, for those of you who don't know, a little bit about Rocky's previous history and experiences and background before we move into what we're going to talk about today. Welcome, Rocky.
Hi, I'm glad to be here.
Thank you. And what we want to start with today is just for you to give us a little bit of a background about you and who you are and what life brought to you spiritually, physically, mentally, emotionally, to share with us.
Well, I'll start kind of in the middle, and I'll start at my transition, which happened about 25 years ago.
Okay.
Gosh, it might even be 30 years ago now. But I was basically walking the earth, and as I jokingly say, I was dragging my knuckles like a gratuitous monkey, and I was an ego stacked guy. And then I had a great fall, a great fall into a very, very dark, ugly place, and it just happened overnight. I've never actually confirmed this, but I swear it was designed by my spirit guides to wake me up.
So a fall. Yeah, we haven't really talked about this fall in detail before, so maybe tell us a little bit about what you think caused this fall. And I know you think it was created by your spirit guides, but what makes you think that?
Well, because like most people, we have a soul purpose, and I was nowhere near my soul purpose. And so it's been mentioned but not exactly stated that I have a soul purpose and I have work to do, and I have a karmic agreement with my spirit guides that if I wasn't on target by a certain time, that they would pull the pin and they would get me to do the work that I needed to do to become who I am today.
Right.
So that happened, and I worked with the most incredible channeler on the planet, as you know,
yeah.
Linda Nardelli, who's extraordinarily gifted.
Right.
Extraordinarily gifted. And
right.
She helped me weed out and heal and release and reprogram mountains and mountains and mountains of pain and suffering and torture from my childhood, from my father. And through that process, I began to get very interested in the healing arts.
Right.
And in 2006, my spirit guide came through, not Mazandia, but
right.
Linda's spirit guide, but my spirit guide, whose name is Seth.
Right.
Now, that shocked me because I knew who Seth was.
That's right, the Roberts.
Yeah, he channeled through Jane Roberts in the 60s, 70s, and 80s. And I knew he was famous, and I was very struck by the fact that he was there talking to me, and he kind of laughed. And he said, okay, you don't really know who you are, but please let me tell you a little bit about yourself and why I'm here for you, okay?
Right.
And then we developed this relationship, and he told me about my gift, my healing gift, which is unique to me. It doesn't make me better than anyone else. It's just a unique gift that I chose to bring into this planet, which I'm now discovering has a very unique purpose for
right.
the betterment of this planet, but it's got to do with machines rather than healing. But in the beginning, I started researching quantum physics, biophysics, and epigenetics to merge the law of attraction with quantum sciences to explain how every thought, every feeling, every emotion creates conditions for you to experience a reality based on that frequency. If it's a frequency that many, many, many women have, which is I use the word imprisonment or
right.
or suppression or oppression, that energy, that thought, and that feeling, those words that reflect that what you've learned about yourself become sort of your self-fulfilling prophecy. Other words, it was the law of attraction, bringing more of that to you and more of that to you, until, in my case, I woke up to the fact that I had this massive unworthiness. Certainly I had severe anger issues. Really, really angry at my father, like you can't even imagine. Tourette's-like.
Right.
And so I was attracting lots of reasons to have conflict in my life. And certainly, in terms of women, I had my dad's attitude, which was not very good. And so I had a lot of work to do. So I started doing a lot of that work. And through that process, and then, like I say, when Seth came through in 2006 and said, you're a healer, and he said, you have a special gift, but you need to go and figure out yourself what that is. So in 2006, shortly after that channeling session, 4 women showed up in my life, a week apart almost. It seemed like it was, just one came, one went, one came, one went. All of them.
Before we go to those children, to those women,
Yeah.
I feel drawn to ask you about your first channeling session and your first experience channeling. And different people talk about channeling in different ways. It could be a vocal channeling, it could be a written channeling.
Mm-hmm.
And can you talk a little bit about that very first experience you had and what it was like? Because yes, you had Linda as a mentor and a teacher, so you know what the whole process was about. You were already drawn to it. But for somebody who doesn't know anything and are in a place where what's channeling in the first place?
Yeah, so this is how I define channeling. To me, channeling is the channeler, the person doing the channeling, steps aside completely, personality-wise, and allows the spirit to use their body, their vocal cords, and their language to convey a message to the client.
Right.
So for me, channeling is the clear, unfettered, unfiltered beauty of angels talking directly to you and giving you information that helps you identify areas in your life that need upgrades. We'll call it upgrades or releases, whatever you want to call them, in areas that will help you change your frequency. So it doesn't matter who you channel, the information is basically the same, in the same kind of mindset, because the mindset around healing has always been about shifting information within the quantum field. So,
there's this idea in the world of good and evil, good and bad, and the possibility of, without pointing it out, putting a finger on it, a negative energy.
Yeah.
Can you talk about that?
Yeah, I can. First of all, there's no such thing as demons.
Right.
There's no such thing as the devil. But there is, and I experienced this with Mazandia. Mazandia, one time we were talking about the devil, and Mazandia said to me, there is no devil. And I said, well, okay, I don't have any trouble believing it because I don't believe in it anyways.
Right.
And then I went home and I picked up a newspaper and I read, in a church in Alabama, 50 people come out of a church and boom, right in the parking lot of all places, there's the devil. They all saw it. 50 people saw the devil.
Wow.
So I came back to Mazzy the next time I saw him. I said, I thought you said there was no devil. I said, here's the article. All these people saw the devil. So what's up? And they said, I like to joke about Mazzy's voice, And
I know.
Okay. We've been telling you that the earth is a place where what you believe is what you create. So what were those people doing in that church? Okay. And I said, yeah, they were bouncing around, fearing the devil and cursing the devil and whatever they do in that church. They fear the devil. So they believed the devil was real, and lo and behold, they created the devil. So I'm going to take that information, I'm going to say to people right now, if you believe in entities, if you believe in evil entities, if you believe in demons, if you believe in the devil, you can shift your frequency from fear of that and let that go, and you will never have an experience. Some people will say, well, I experienced this evil, I experienced this demon.
Well, some people will say that Jesus experienced it.
We don't know that.
Right.
We don't know that. And Jesus, come on. Jesus was love. Jesus was an avatar. That's ridiculous.
Absolutely.
To be honest with you, Jesus didn't experience. Jesus experienced the human devil,
right.
the devil within the human, the shadows of humans, and he was here to help shift that. And
well, your heart will tell you that and scream that at you, right? Mm-hmm. It knows from beyond a shadow of a doubt that that there's something wrong with this picture, because we have this epitome of love, shall we say, and how is it that the epitome of love would ever attract
That is the teachings of men over many centuries to control people with fear. I have an article on my Facebook page of a Roman Catholic priest who point blank says he knows, because he was there, that the Catholic Church created hell as a mechanism to keep people in fear, to keep control of them. He point blank
categorically says that, right?
So we know that's true. And so if you know, even if you're not talking about demons and devils, and if you're scared of entities that are frightening, you know, like these movies, they're all done to scare us, right? But it's not true. If you don't believe it, if you allow yourself in your subconscious mind to let go of the belief that evil exists, then evil no longer exists, because we are God creators on a planet where our job is free will and free choice to believe what we want or believe what we don't want, and we create our reality from our belief systems, and it always reflects out in the world to us.
Right. And that goes for anything then, when it comes to anything negative or anything bad or anything evil.
The law of attraction is in action 24/7.
Right.
End of story. Thanks very much for showing up. Drive home safely. Always, always working. And it's always reflecting the mix of what you believe about yourself.
Right.
You know, the parts of you that love yourself and the much larger parts of yourself that, you know, we've scientifically proven that our unworthiness sits at around 80%.
Right.
So that unworthiness is always attracting reasons for you to struggle in life, struggle with money,
right.
struggle with people, struggle with relationships, struggle with health, struggle. When you let go of those beliefs and you reprogram yourself, which is what I do as a quantum emotional healer, to a higher state of, I am worthy of love, I am worthy of unconditional love, I am worthy of being seen, I'm worthy of being heard, I'm worthy of being valued, I'm worthy of being acknowledged, and I'm worthy of being safe.
Right.
Those are conditions you can create, you know, as the great teachers of the planet, the Buddhists and that kind of thing, they say if you are at peace within, so be it that you create that. Right. And that's true.
Yeah.
So in our Western society, we have to learn to stop taking the news, stop taking information from different sources that are designed to keep us de-empowered, and start looking in. Just stop looking out, start looking in, and start going to what my spirit guides would call your true knowing, your divine knowing. You know what you know. You just have to access it, but we've been successfully blocked from accessing ourselves because we're taught that that's not appropriate.
Right. So you mentioned the law of attraction, and we often hear about this law of attraction. Where is this law book, and where is this law stated, and is there other laws, and why can't everyone have access to these laws?
Everyone has access to them. It's just that you have people out there teaching things that they honestly don't know what they're talking about, and some of them are very wealthy and very well known. I've listened to them and I just go, that's so sad that they're paying so much money to listen to this guy and he really doesn't know what he's talking about. The simple truth is, the simple truth of the law of attraction is very simple. It's very simple. I like to use my phone as a metaphor. I say, here is a floppy disk from your subconscious mind, not your brain. So let's separate this troublemaker from this reality creator. This one tries to keep up with this, and all it does is make a mess of everything. Create stories and lies and illusions. So in here, if I was to take this iPhone and I was to impart the program that almost every person on this planet has in them called Windows 98, everybody knows what Windows 98 is. It was famous for what? Crashing. It was famous for crashing. So everyone on this planet...
The blue screen of death?
Yes, the blue screen, yeah. So everybody's got Windows 98 in them to a certain extent. And if I take Windows 98 and put it into this brand new iPhone I just got recently, what's going to happen to my iPhone? It's not going to work very well. No. Average human being, not working very well. So we go in, I go in, and I help them identify and connect to, through the feeling body, through the subconscious mind, through your quantum DNA, that are all tied together, through the heart. Heaven forbid we should use our heart again. And it's scary to use our heart because we live in a world where there's so much damage done to the heart through relationship, through rejection, abandonment, shame, guilt.
Right.
So we help them reconnect to that gently, softly, with no time limit, with a voice frequency that is very welcoming, very safe, and at the same time creating a space of potential that we call vulnerability or surrender. I choose to surrender the programs that are not serving me, that are causing me to struggle, to be in pain.
Right.
So that's the beginning.
Right.
And then we go in and stuff just starts to come up, because your spirit guides are not just sitting around having coffee at Starbucks. They're busy helping you out.
Right.
You know, and when they see you do this work, they know this is the time to get at her, pitter patter.
Right.
So I like to jokingly say, you know, we got a four-way conversation going on. My spirit guides, their spirit guides, yourself, myself, Zoom. Let's all join into this energy field, and let's see what comes up. And let's not run away from our feelings.
Right.
When the feelings come up of that child who was wounded, don't run away, because that's what the medical system does. It teaches you to run away from your feelings.
Right.
And so when you don't run away, you create this space for this energy field called suffering or pain.
Right.
Or heartache.
Right.
And when you just give it some space and you give the intention to observe it,
Mm-hmm.
you get to understand it better. So your mind gets satisfied that, oh, now I see what's going on.
Right.
And you get to also see this energy field, which is like a wounded kitty cat.
Mm-hmm.
And this wounded kitty cat is you know, crying, you know, and all it needs is for you to come up to it and stroke it and give it love.
Right.
And all of a sudden it starts purring, it starts feeling better. That's what happens to an energy field, is it starts to dissipate and leave, literally cleaning out your quantum DNA on that particular program, leaving an empty space, so to speak. And my job is then to help you identify new language, new words to fill in that belief system that will raise your vibration. And once that information is embedded in there, it's permanent. It's not
Right.
temporary, like a lot of energy healing raises the vibration.
Mm-hmm.
But then what happens? They go home and this starts up again.
Right.
So one of the things that Archangel Metatron asked me to do was to present the opportunity for women who are currently very dedicated to energy healing and do what I call quantum upgrade.
Right.
Upgrade them to a standard where they're able to help somebody, not with energy healing, but with working with quantum fields with information.
Right.
And all energy healers are very capable of doing this and transitioning over from just energy healing, which really doesn't heal anything.
So let's talk about that a little bit then.
Sure.
Well, first I wanted to go back to Angel Metatron. So Angel Metatron speaks to you. What other angels speak to you?
All of them.
Okay. And did it happen over time, or just
yeah.
when one's mandate is needed?
No.
Then
No, it's taken a lot of dedication, a lot of focus, a lot of surrender, a lot of my ego trying to say, I can't talk to angels. Who do you think you are? That's my father speaking. Angels, what the hell are you doing? You're weird? You know, my son's weird.
right.
Yeah. So a lot of that negativity was in the way, and I had to let it go. But, I owe almost all of this to Linda Nardelli and Mazandia. I spent 500 hours working with them, 500 hours.
Yeah.
And so they helped me release, we'll call it stuck particles in a tube
Right.
called enlightenment.
Right.
And am I enlightened right now? Oh God, I wouldn't dare say that, because I told Mazandia one time that I thought I was enlightened. Oh my God, did I get my ass kicked?
I can imagine.
Oh my God. Okay. You are not enlightened. On a scale of 1 to 100, we can say you're currently at about 2. And I said, ouch. And they said, okay, when you talk about enlightenment, what are you talking about? And I said, as soon as they said that, I felt it right here, and I went, oh, it's ego.
Absolutely.
It's ego. And I went, they said, do not seek enlightenment. What is enlightenment really? How about you focus on what you can do right now? Because what you do right now, in the now, is the only thing that matters. It's the only thing that changes things. It's the only thing that helps you heal. It's the only thing that helps you create what you want. Enlightenment doesn't serve anyone.
Right.
And they said, we'll tell you what enlightenment is for you in your journey.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Your son will die out in about 6 billion years. They said at that time we will roll up the carpet called Earth and we'll move to another system and we'll start all over again. And at that time you will not be enlightened. Do you understand what we're talking about? 6 billion years? I said, I get it. I get it. The enlightenment is not in my language anymore.
Right.
So it's about now. And everyone who's spiritual has heard, be in the now, but nobody really knows what that means.
and nobody really acts on what they preach either.
Well, because
and I don't want to say nobody.
Well, that's because they don't know.
Yeah.
Everybody talks about this stuff, and this is one of the things that drives me crazy about the industry.
Right.
There's lots of people that say, you've got this epiphany about your childhood. Just let it go.
Right.
Really? With what? A crowbar? What am I going to do? How am I going to do that? So nobody teaches how to let it go. I do. That's the work I do. I show up and I say, this is how you let it go. And it's good if you have it facilitated, because it's impossible, almost impossible, to be in the mix of the pain energy field and focus on that and be the non-outcome healer facilitating that.
Right. So
healers are good for facilitating non-outcome possibilities.
Right.
To hold a space, as they say.
Mm-hmm.
So so that's how I feel about that. It's time for us to get real. It's time for us to stop going, I call it Dalai Lama, Dalai Lama, Dalai Lama, Dalai Lama, ching, 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 to stop it. It's ritual's good, but it's not healing. Right. So let yourself find your space where you can find peace. That's good. Then you begin the work.
Right.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying.
Okay. So back to quantum communication then, and the power of words. Can we speak a little bit about that?
Yeah, I have a workshop coming up with a friend of mine, Dr. Arlene Garcia, in New Jersey. She's a life coach, and she works mostly with Black women, and she does a lot of empowerment work. So we're working together to create a workshop that we've put together now on October the 24th, called The Power of Words. And so when you give yourself permission, and I like to be a joker about this, I say, when you become aware of every word you say, and you shift and change the negative ones before you say it, you change the frequency instantly. Raise it up. We talked about this, and I said, I'm in a fight with my husband for, he's always, trying to control me, and I'm fighting for my freedom. Well, fight, according to the law of attraction, will present you with lots more reasons to be in a fight. What if you said, I surrender my belief that I am controlled. I surrender to this belief, and I am going to release it from my body so that no one can control me anymore.
Right.
So there's a difference there. And so the power of words is about the words you speak. Many words and many phrases that we use in our day-to-day lives have great limitation to it.
Right.
So we help you identify, and even in the workshop webinar, we'll talk about it, and women will respond, and they'll use language right then and there. And everybody else listening will see, yeah, I heard that, but they won't, because they're not aware of it.
Right.
So awareness is the first step to empowerment, because learning about self, seeing self, feeling self, going inside is about becoming aware of every feeling, every thought, every emotion, and every word you speak, because they're all tied to a frequency, and that frequency may be unworthiness, not good enough. I give my love away to everyone in the hopes of getting some back. Right. You're listening to women? You're listening, women out there? I give my love away to everyone in the hopes of getting some back. So many women carry that badge with honor, and it sucks the life out of you. Right. It sucks the life out of you. So there's many phrases and words that we use that are de-empowering, and one of the things I get great joy out of, like just before we got together, I was working with a woman on phone with a migraine headache over in Victoria, and I was helping her because she's a Christian as well, so there's a bit of a, you know, a different angle that I have to come from. We invited Jesus in. I don't have a problem with that. And I know who Jesus really is. So, you know, I can just say, Jesus, come on, dude, let's get busy. And he goes, right on, Rocky, let's get at her. And so we helped her change her language. And in 20 minutes, she went from a 10 out of 10 migraine headache that she's had for 2 days to about a 3 in about 10, 15 minutes.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's not a big deal when you really think about it, when you understand how we create our reality, and that's what I love teaching. It's not hard to understand where pain comes from, because she was able to identify a lot of the areas where she's worrying about money, worrying about her future. She had a car accident. We don't know why yet, but I'm going to help her understand why the car accident was there, to stop her from whatever she was doing in her life that was creating pain over and over again. Car accidents are very good for that.
Right.
So the power of words is really an important aspect of healing self. And it's something you can do on your own. And when you become aware of the words that you say, I ask women to, journal them. If they catch themselves saying, I can't do this, or I shouldn't do this, or I'm not allowed to do this, or whatever. Just go, I felt that. I felt my body go tight. And so those words that I said, I'm going to write them down on a journal, and I'm going to go through them and see how could I change that language so that it supports me rather than imprisons me.
Right.
With emotional imprisonment, which is the root cause of chronic pain and anxiety and depression.
Wow.
Yeah.
And how much your emotions play a part in your own healing is just so phenomenal that it's really you're trapped in your own self, you're trapped in your own experience, and that experience is causing you your pain. It's nothing else around you that's causing it.
But how do you get free of that? We don't know that, but
right.
That's why I'm teaching what I'm teaching, because I was lucky enough to walk out of a prison of hell and do so in a safe and gentle way. So I was very familiar now with this process, and right. I know it works. I guarantee it. If a person shows up willing to be authentic, open, and honest, and willing to do the work at their pace, gentle, loving, no force at all, then I guarantee they will heal.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's quite the claim, guarantee.
Well, 20 years of work, I've got the evidence.
Right. So let's talk a little bit about that proof, and how, it's a tough thing for someone who has had these beliefs for lifetimes to grasp the possibility of letting go of it all and freeing themselves of those beliefs, be it towards money, be it towards relationship, be it towards health, be it towards anything, that I have to go to the doctor, I don't have enough money, there's all these beliefs. Thoughts and beliefs that are limited, traveling in our mind's scape, for lack of a better word. Yes. Right? What proof can you share with the audience right now that this is going to work when they come to you?
Well, other than
your 20 years of experience and testimonials.
But the one way I prove what I can do is the process that I use to welcome clients.
Right.
And that process is I offer a free 1-hour healing session, right, in which you will experience my work, because you can't understand it logic. It's impossible. Right. You try to understand it with this, you're lost.
Right.
You want to experience the freedom. And 9 out of 10 women who show up and do this work, this free session with me, experience freedom. Right. And they feel the potential for many other things to release.
Right.
Therefore they sign up. So the proof is in the experience.
Right.
So I'm not about to prove myself, because I have nothing to prove.
Right.
But I welcome women to experience Excellent. The feeling.
Right.
Okay? So we're talking about feelings here. We're not talking about feeding the brain with, you know, with facts and
information.
figures. Yeah.
Yeah. And through the feelings, you get to that place of knowingness, right?
Absolutely. You create a vortex for the potential for healing, and that's my job.
Yeah.
And so I welcome women with that. We do a 1 hour session. It's gentle, it's welcoming. We focus in on what you want to focus in on.
Right.
And then I begin my intuitive work, and we get the spirit guides getting that wheel going, you know.
Right. And
So,
what exactly do you mean when you say intuitive work? If I was to come to you, where would I be? What would I experience?
well, it depends on what you want to work on,
Okay.
right? But inevitably, it will involve bringing that wounded little child in, because everyone's got a wounded child. I don't care who you are. You've got a wounded child. It may not feel like you had a horrible childhood, but there's
Right.
something in there. There's belief systems. There's experiences. But there's also patriarchal mindset programming that I'm able to pick up through your language. Your language that you share with me gives me lots of clues as to where you are limiting yourself and you're not even aware of it. It's a good place to start. Epiphanies arise from being aware of the language you use, and I'll reflect back to you and say, I'm just going to say this, you know, I heard you say this. How does that feel when you say that again? Now that we're talking about how does it feel, and I get you to check in with your feeling body, and most women will say, yeah, no, I can feel my muscles tightening up. I can feel stress. I said, exactly. So what would happen if we shifted and changed that information? So we start creating potentials of opportunities.
Right.
So, you know, it's not one single thing. It's multiple inputs, but I work with what I've got, and I know exactly how to work with them and dance around with it.
So let me ask you then, there's various healing, spiritual modalities out there. And so can you speak a little bit about which modalities you use, or is it strictly spirit guided?
No, it's not spirit guided. It's quantum emotional healing. It's a modality I created because I was told to do that.
Right.
Because by spirit, by my spirit guides, by my team,
right,
because they wanted me to take my healing gift, which is a unique frequency of the DNA, the quantum DNA, to allow pain to release very quickly.
Right. So let's talk about that unique frequency then. What does it consist of?
Well,
what makes this your modality experientially different?
Exactly. It's experientially different.
Right.
Now, how many hundreds of times have I helped a man or a woman release the pain of a migraine headache in 10 to 15 minutes?
Right.
Over and over and over again. So something's going on, right? So each person that experiences this goes, wow, what did you do?
So migraine gone, and
pain
for
gone.
how long?
Pain's gone. It's gone. However, exactly.
Right.
I say to them, the pain's gone, and they feel good. And wow, that's a miracle. How did you do that? I said, well, I can't honestly say I did it. I can say we did it. So I said, let's now take a look at what caused it. And let's go in and stop them from coming back forever. And that takes 8 sessions. That's why I do 8 sessions, an 8-session package.
Right.
Because people say, well, why do I need so many sessions? And I said, once we get going, you'll probably want more, because there's a lot of work to do.
You don't realize.
You don't realize it. The spirit guide used to say, you're familiar with what you're familiar with. And so this is the programming, this is the struggle. Your body is attuned to that now. So ironically, when I present the spark of the heart,
right,
and the potential of love rising, this part goes like, yeah, I don't know,
Right.
So there's some resistance to it, even though you want this so badly.
Right.
So we have to feed that resistance first. That's the first thing.
It's not even some resistance, it's probably all resistance to it.
Well, it's not all, but it varies from person to person, because it depends on how ready you are to surrender.
Right.
Okay, this person might be skeptical.
Mhm.
And that means they're just going to take a long time to heal if they stick with the healing, which sometimes they don't.
Right.
So I've learned not to try and fix somebody. I've learned to welcome somebody to a space of healing. If they resist, and I'm aware of it, I'll simply say to them, I think it's time, you might want to consider somebody else. It doesn't happen very often, but it does happen.
Do or do not. There is no try.
Yeah, so I'm not, well, some people come in the old days, and back in my early days. It doesn't happen anymore because I've set an intention for that not to happen, where people will come and say, no, I'm not doing that, you fix me. I go, sorry, I can't. It's not what I do.
Right.
I don't fix anybody.
Everyone's looking for an instant solution.
Everyone's looking for a medical mindset solution. Give me a pill, make me feel better, let me get on with my life.
But that doesn't work.
Never. It never has. The medical system has never worked, and it never will, ever.
Right.
Let's be clear on that. So everybody out there watching, the medical system will never heal pain or trauma, ever, because they're not even invested in it. They're invested in coping and managing, and they always will be, and they will never find a cure for anything because they're not doing that. They're doing the work to make money, and they're not interested in healing anything. If you want to heal, you have to do the work, you have to show up, and you have to work with a healer like myself or someone else who does this emotional work.
Right. So that opinion that you just stated, and I'll call it an opinion just for the audience, is not a common opinion out there, or it's a very common opinion out there.
It's a very common opinion, but people don't know they have a choice.
Right.
Okay, so they run to the doctor because what else are they going to do? They don't know that they can do emotional healing.
Mm-hmm.
They don't know what a quantum emotional healer is. They don't even know I exist. So, as you know, I've been trying to get my social media out there to the world, and we're being heavily censored right now. So I'm just doing the best I can with interviews like this.
So somebody would say, like, I've met healers who, and I'm being kind of nasty here by saying this, but I met healers that are healers, claim to be healers, say they're healers, but then they themselves have a physical ailment or a mental ailment or a spiritual, or not spiritual, but maybe they do, I don't know, but I'm not judging that, what I'm saying. I'm just saying that my eyes see this, like I can observe that there's healers out there that have these, and yet they claim to be healers of others. What can you say about that?
I can say it's possible for them to be healers of others, but I will say that your frequency is a reflection of what your own journey consists of.
Right.
If your journey consists of struggle, how many healers have I met who have fibromyalgia, for example?
Exactly.
And fibromyalgia is very much not disease, it's a pain creation through anger.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the women that I've helped heal fibromyalgia have severe anger, usually at men, because they've had bad experiences with men.
Right.
So the whole concept of healing has to be shifted, and it has to be re-educated in the spiritual world, because in order for us to be effective at healing, not just temporarily helping them cope, much like the medical system, we have to work with the information within a quantum field, not the quantum field raising the vibration of the energy, because it doesn't do anything long term. It does short term work.
Right. So can you talk a little bit about frequency and vibration, because you've mentioned it an awful lot in our conversation in different ways, in association with different aspects. We talked about healing, we talked about the channelers, we talked about the different frequencies of the different guides. You even mentioned that you're embarking on a new path of rather than communication, that you're going to be working with machines to raise people's vibrations. And
no, not to raise people's vibrations.
Okay.
These are machines that are going to help the earth let go of the old brick and mortar idea of creating electricity, creating we got machines now that can desalinate water with magnetics,
Right.
magnetics, not harmful
But
chemicals.
and when I say that, I mean on a societal level,
Yes.
that absolutely raises everyone's vibration, because now they're not worried about their daily, lighting and heating and water
Right,
and all that.
exactly.
They're not thinking about those thoughts, so that's automatically going to raise their vibration in that sense, is it not?
Well, to a certain extent, but there's a transition that we still have to heal though.
Right.
If this is a 1986 iPhone, it's got a long ways to go to get to 2020.
Right.
So there's nothing that I can hand the 1996 iPhone a new chip, but it's going to look at it and go like, why?
Right.
That won't fit in me.
Right.
And I'll say, right. So you need to fit into it.
So yeah, so you still need to.
It's time for everybody to look in now. It's time to stop saying, I'm a healer, I'm here to heal everybody. It's time to stop saying, I'm a healer, therefore I don't need to do my own healing.
Right.
The truth is, healing someone else or presenting a space is irrespective of their own personal crap.
Right.
Okay, so a healer is a healer, and that's true. It's like saying, you got a bag with a bottle of pop and a bag of chips.
Right.
You're going to reach, every time you need that bottle of pop, you're going to grab the bottle of pop.
Right.
The chips are still there.
Right.
So, a healer's a healer.
Mm-hmm.
But within that healing modality, there are limitations. There are, Lord Metatron said to me about 5 years ago that I was to go out and I was to teach women how to upgrade to quantum, because there's so many people in so much distress. We need to let go of the old
Right.
mindset around healing, taking a 2-week or 3-week course or 4-week course on Reiki or whatever, and working with energy, because it doesn't heal anything.
Right.
It makes people feel better, but it doesn't heal. We need to understand what healing really is. We need to understand that a quantum field with information, and it's the information and the type of information within that quantum field, whatever frequency that's at. If it's unworthy, you'll put that message out to the world and you'll attract unworthiness over and over again until you've had enough and you surrender and say, I'm going to release this unworthiness.
Right.
So it's time to upgrade.
Right. So do you want to talk a little bit or share a little bit about the technology that you're embarking on creating? Okay.
I can't.
Okay.
Yeah.
New era, new reality.
It's so amazing that it makes Star Trek look like an amateur show.
Wow. Okay.
And it's real. It's real. It's happening right now. I know it exists because I'm now involved in it, and it's going to change everything on this planet for a much better planet. There's many things that they're doing that are going to blow your mind.
Right.
And it's going to be very simple. It's going to be interdimensional, universal mathematics and science that scientists are getting really, really familiar with. It's a really cool time to be on this planet.
Right.
It's Einstein on steroids. Okay.
Right. And your involvement in it is at the top level?
No, I'm an add-on, but it's my gift that I'm letting them explore, because it has properties that will help transmute the harmful radiation that electrical wires emit into the environment.
I've listened to many channelers out there, Bashar, and Mazandia and others, and there comes a point where the channeling is technology.
Right.
And I don't know what the reason why that shift happens, but there comes a point where initially it's healing and healing yourself, and then it's healing others, and then it's technology, and then it might even be architecture and technology. And the point I'm trying to make here is, with all these channels and channelers getting these messages and information about how to raise us, it would imply that this world is seriously going to be a different world.
It is. It's guaranteed, in fact.
Right.
So try to imagine in 170 years, excuse me.
Why 170?
Because that's what beings who know what's going on this planet and where we're going,
Right.
you can see that coming. The number that was given just recently was 170 years. We will be in a place where you can transform into light and travel wherever you want.
Right.
You can fly,
Right.
literally.
Right.
You can communicate with people without speaking.
I'm not going to be here 170 years from now.
You never know.
You never know.
You never know. The technology's coming.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there are beings on this planet right now who have lived for 800-900 years.
Right. Right.
And so there's technology coming, medical technology, that will shift the DNA. I've got a picture of a thing called a med bed.
Right.
That is a technology that was released by, we'll call them higher than the government operations right now, and they've been working on it for a long time. It's technology that was received from extraterrestrials,
Mm-hmm.
and it's technology that we've had on this planet, you know, back in Atlantis and that kind of thing. So it's nothing new, but there's technology coming that will help us heal just about everything.
Right. So, what would be the need for economy at that point then?
Things are going to change, no doubt, because think about it. You know, if you're familiar with the Pleiadians and the Arcturians and the Sirians, and you know that they're 8th and 9th and 10th dimensional beings, they don't need food, you know, they don't need money.
Right.
So I thought about this recently. I thought, well, what do they do?
Yeah.
Well, they spend their entire time working with consciousness to help Earth evolve to a higher state, because everything the Earth does impacts every other solar system in the planet, every other planet.
Right.
And we're all one. You know,
Right.
we've heard that thing, and we're all one.
Yeah.
They don't want us to screw up because that impacts their planet.
Right.
But not only that, their purpose is to, how can I say this? Sounds kind of goofy. Get closer to God.
Right.
To know God more. To know love more.
Right.
And they're already incredibly loving beings compared to us.
And they're still on that same quest.
They're still on the same quest because the journey never stops.
Right.
It's like there's no time, there's no
there
space.
There could be more love than the love that I know, and there could be more love than the love the Earth knows, and so on.
Yeah, well, you know, those beings are millions and hundreds of millions of years ahead of us in that love category.
Right.
We're pretty damn,
Yeah.
you know, Neanderthal that way. But
2 out of 100.
yeah, if that, you know, yeah, 2 out of 100. That was a shot to the kidneys. But it took my ego and it took my ego and it bounced it right into the garbage can over there. I just went, do I need that anymore? Nah.
Right.
Yeah.
And but it also rang true, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Right.
You know, I've reached
it wasn't
the point.
like you fought it.
I've reached the
instant
point.
Realization at that point.
Yeah, I have reached the point where when the spirit guides say, "You are this," and I go, "Okay, I'm that." So let's get busy and let's do this. For years, working with Linda, it would be, Rocky, this is what's going on. I go, well, no, it's not. That's illogical. It's so funny now when I think about how silly it was. But it was my journey. It was my growth path, right? So I can laugh about it now, because we can always laugh about the past when we've learned how silly it was.
Right.
And continue to move, because we humans provide huge comic relief.
Well, from hearing this story again, I realized that your dark time that you went through, well, if it wasn't for that, there wouldn't be all this exponentially more light now, more love now,
right.
And more knowing now, and more everything now that you now.
I'm just one person
engage in
7 billion that need to do that work. Mm-hmm. We all have to do it. There will be some who don't, and they'll be left behind, so to speak.
Right.
And that's okay. It's free will and free choice still. But the earth and the energies of the earth and the raising of the earth energies are squeezing people to wake up to their struggles, their pain, their past. So the choices are there for them now, and that's why I want to help create as many healers as possible that can be effective at helping them. It would be nice to have a collective of quantum emotional healers. I've trained 2 women now to do this, and I do offer this as a course as well.
Right, and the 2 women that you've trained to do this, can you talk a little bit about them, if you don't mind?
Well, one of them has gone off and done her own thing in Toronto, but the other one's here in the Lower Mainland, and she continues to learn. She's like a sponge, and she's now a full grade medium as well. During the course, she all of a sudden doing mediumship. She'd never done it before.
Right.
So she does mediumship now as well.
Do you want to talk about her and how people can reach her if they want to reach her?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I'd love to promote her. She's my prize student, so to speak, and she's very, very good. She has a gift that I haven't heard anybody else do, and that is if you come to her and say, I want to know who my spirit guides are, she can connect to them.
Right.
And she'll get their names and tell you a little bit about your connection with them.
Right.
And I've seen her do this with at least 15, 20 people now.
Right.
She's only been doing this for 2 years now, so she's getting out of that rookie mode. But her name is Julie Smith.
Okay.
And if anybody wants to connect to her, they can give me a call. We'll give them my contact information, my website. Sure. And Julie's about ready now to launch and leave her job, which she hates.
Nice.
And step into her power now. So, but her skills as a healer are phenomenal.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
And she wasn't that before this work that she did, right?
Not only was she not that, she was so down low, she was considering leaving the planet.
Oh.
Yeah. So she's revived, she's rejuvenated. Her spirit guide is Mary Magdalene.
Beautiful.
Yeah, it really is, and she has some really funny things, some funny stories to share. Right. One morning she got up and she was getting ready for work, and she hopped into the shower, and all of a sudden she just felt Jesus was there, right in the shower. So she was having a conversation with Jesus in the shower, and Mary Magdalene was there as well, and Merlin was there, and Saint Germain was there, and Archangel Metatron was there. She has a whole host of rather well-known entities that she speaks to.
Well, that's amazing.
Yeah, so the world's changing very quickly. Healers are getting better.
Right.
Channelers are getting better.
Right.
Mediums are getting better, and people are starting to let go of information about dead people.
Right.
That whole dead people thing.
Yeah.
It doesn't really serve you, but it serves those who are new to the spiritual
and those
journey.
who are grieving and want to talk to them.
And that's fair enough.
Yeah.
That's fair enough. But looking for healing information from that level, not really so good.
Right. Because they potentially left the planet without healing themselves in the first place.
That's true. Some of them carry their human personality on the other side for a while. That's true. They wander what they call the gray zone. That's true.
So talk about these zones and how...
There's just one zone.
There's just one zone.
One zone. You either go straight to heaven or you go to the gray zone. I've wandered the gray zone. Seth has told me, okay, if you hadn't done your work in this lifetime, you would have died from a disease of the lungs, and you would have been wandering the gray zone again. Because I've had many lives as military.
Right.
And
so military?
Military, yeah. This is my first life without military. Yeah. It's quite a transition for me. I've been to many of my past lives. I was a samurai soldier in the 13th and 14th century, military leader in France during the times of Napoleon, Rome, Egypt, military.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that's interesting that the archetype is so prominent there.
In my case, yes. In my case, but long term, there's such a thing as long term. The military was an intent to live that life and die that life and live that life, and all of the darkness that comes with it.
I wonder what would make you ask to be that again.
Well, you would do it. You would do it again on purpose because it's serving a long-term purpose.
Right.
It led me to here.
Right.
And so it's not logical
Right.
to look at individual lives and say, gosh, I wonder why I was a murderer in that life.
Right.
Or why was I a woman who was killed.
Right.
It's important to remember that there's a purpose to all of your incarnations. Now, one thing people may not know is you do not incarnate from life to life to life.
Right.
And Mazandia shared that you incarnate into all the lives at the same time because they're all happening right now.
Right.
So how does your soul evolve?
Right.
Let's answer that question.
Okay.
The soul evolves by what I choose to do. We talked about this earlier. Now, what I do now affects the fluidity of all lives which are interconnected, back and forth in the future, back and forth. What I do now, what I heal now, impacts my history, changes it, and changes my future as well.
Right. And if you're living in the now, then your soul is evolving because you're not recreating the past or stuck in the future.
If you're living in the now and you're choosing love, it changes everything.
Right.
Okay, if you're choosing fear, then that stays the same.
Right.
And your future stays the same.
Wow, that's a very powerful lesson for everyone.
It is. It's something to think about because we all know for sure
Right.
that all our lives are connected,
Right.
that they're all happening all at once,
Right.
and that you incarnate into all the lives at the same time. So when one life ends, that aspect of yourself goes back to heaven and waits for everybody else to come home so you can be whole again.
So talk to those people who are on that quest and they work to do what they need to do to stay in their heart, for example, to stay in the moment, for example. And then they get thrown curveballs.
They don't get thrown curveballs, they attract curveballs.
That's excellent to share.
Yes. So if they're trying to work in their heart, then they're not in the right place because you don't try to work on the heart.
Right.
You surrender to working on the heart. And I refer to it as sitting in a canoe on the river of life. You can trust God. You can trust that you are life, that you are love, that you are divine.
Right.
Or you can be in fear.
Right.
And most of us are in fear, and there's nothing wrong with that because this is the planet of fear. Let's just call it what it is right now, anyways, and has been for a long time.
Right.
So, surrendering to your divinity, your divine feminine, is a very powerful tool and goal that you can choose to do, but you have to show up and you have to let go of the programming that is in the way of that. You can't run and hide. You can't try to be in your heart. When your heart's broken, if you're trying to be into a broken heart, all you're doing is accessing a broken heart.
Right.
Limited possibilities. Healing the heart and then allowing the heart to merge with you to move forward is
Unlimited possibilities.
well, it creates unlimited possibilities.
Right.
It creates what you want, not what you don't want.
Right.
Yeah.
And then when somebody is heartbroken, as you said, and really heart, be in my heart, what's that going to do for me, right? And when they're heartbroken to the point of, well, maybe even suicide, like you said,
Yep.
with right. I don't know what motivated your prize student to come to you.
Oh, I can tell you.
Right.
I'll tell you.
Okay.
The answer is the receiving of love for the first time in her life. She had not known love from her childhood on. She had known love.
Right.
If you haven't been able to receive love and you don't know how to receive love,
Right.
how can you
How
possibly,
can you possibly?
want to move forward? But in the healing sessions, that's what I do. As I impart and superimpose this higher self / soul part of me that is this strand that is love.
Right.
And it presents an opportunity for you to feel it. And once you feel it, you start to revive.
Right.
And you start to go, okay, that felt good.
Right.
I haven't felt that before. Can we do that again? Absolutely.
Right.
Which is, once again, why I do several sessions.
Right.
And once you connect to it, and once you realize you're worthy of it, see, that's the thing. Once you realize you're worthy of it, that old program in the back going, you're not worthy of love, who do you think you are?
Right.
Once that's gone, your desire to not only live, is your desire to not just survive, but to thrive suddenly wakes up.
Right.
And then, once again, you become an unlimited possibility creator.
Right. This concept of unlimited possibility creator, there'll be people out there that say that's quote unquote blasphemous.
Well, they don't know what they're talking about. That's okay.
Yeah.
People are allowed to have their opinions.
But what could you say to them?
We are all divine beings of God. We are all a piece of God. Quantum physics has all but proved that already. Therefore, I'm just going to say to them, you have the right to choose limitation if you wish. I choose unlimited possibilities simply because I want to experience the most out of life. And that's a choice I can make, and I base it on science as well as spirituality.
And that's a choice anyone can make.
That's right. So what choice do you want? Do you
Right.
want to currently stay in the existence you're in right now, or do you want to raise your vibrations to a higher place?
Right.
It's a choice. And
Right.
everybody has the right to choose what they want.
Right. So the idea of this raising your vibration, we've touched on it a little bit, and we're talking about how healing yourself can raise your vibration. Can you talk a little bit about what other things can heal or raise your vibration?
Well, certainly a combination of releasing that which doesn't serve you anymore and talking the talk of words that empower you or raise your vibrations, like intentionally. Now, this isn't intentionally, so this is intention connected to heart, not brain connected to heart, intention connected to heart.
Right.
You know, I long to be in a loving relationship, for example. I long to be welcomed by everyone with love. Notice I use the word long. Long is a word of divine energy.
Right.
It's quantum. The heart energy is quantum. The women's right brain is quantum. The men's right brain is linear.
Right.
Which is why we have so many troubles. We have that gap, right? But men are now being drawn to quantum. Women are quantum already, but don't know where to find it. It's right there. So that's the journey within is so important.
Right. And so a quantum woman and a man who's drawn to quantum come into a relationship, and that's, potentially looks like chaos to me.
Well, that's because you're familiar with it.
Right.
Truthfully, when you love yourself, naturally you're going to draw a man into your life or a woman into my life who loves herself as well.
Right.
So it's not about needing that person to suck the life out of them for love, but you're in a place of confidence and reassurance of self and love of self. So you do what I call, you merge into what I call the dance of love.
Right.
And so there's no need for love from each other. There's just the gratitude of receiving it and sharing it.
There's really then no need for anything, really, because you're living the present moment. And if you're focused and concentrated on the present moment, what you're doing now, there's no thought of needing anything from outside. You're living the now.
And you're not living a limited life.
Right.
For example, like a narcissistic relationship, or a relationship where women are expected to do this, and this.
Right.
When they don't like it. So men got a lot to learn too. We're actually behind the women. The women have been ahead of the game for 50, 60 years now.
Right.
So it is time for men And it's starting to happen. The younger men are really starting to wake up and to really show a compassion for earth, a compassion for self, a compassion for love, letting go of the patriarchal mindset.
Right.
Very important.
And what advice do you have for men today?
You can choose to continue to suffer in your, well, talk about that shit, in your resistance to the feeling body, in your resistance to your heart, in resistance to the love that you long for with your partner. It's right there. All you need to do is open up to it.
Right.
It's really that simple. But man, it's a journey, because we have been impregnated so well with, notice what I'm doing with my arms.
Yeah.
What am I doing with my arms?
You're covering your heart. You're blocking your heart.
Thank you. Men are familiar with that. And there's this pride ego thing out there.
Right.
And God knows I witnessed it for 30, 40 years in the construction industry, electrical industry, many of the industries that I worked in. It's very prevalent, and it's so destructive. It's so destructive. So the inner child plus the patriarchal mindset for men has left them going, I don't know what love is.
Right.
I don't even know how to get love. I don't know what is love? How do I love a woman? What does that mean? And the number one thing that I told you about was my book that teaches men how to hear a woman without fixing her or ignoring her.
Right.
That's one huge tool that men could learn to understand how a woman loves.
Right.
A woman loves when she feels loved, supported, heard, valued, acknowledged, safe.
Right. Right.
And the best way to do that is to shut your damn face and listen. And don't think about how you're going to fix her, because you don't want to have to feel anything. And I'm the man. I fix things. Patriarchal mindset. Big lie. Big lie. Nonsense, garbage, horse patooties. Men can learn how to do it, because, as I jokingly say when I talk about my book, The Subtle Art of Listening, that suddenly men don't have to go, I don't know how the hell to fix this damn woman. God, this is always so much pain. I hate this. How am I going to fix this woman so I don't have to deal with this? Well, you could shut up and just listen and relax and listen to your beloved and listen to the nuggets of wisdom that she shares with you that you've missed all the time because you've been busy trying to figure out how to fix her. And when she feels she's heard.
Guys, this is coming from a guy.
This is coming from a guy.
Yeah.
I had to learn this the hard way, as usual.
Yeah.
When the woman is heard, her heart center opens up and love floods out. And the very thing that guys complain about the most, which is I never get enough sex, and she never shows that she cares for me, and she always complains about all the work she has to do, and all these things that men complain about, but they don't show up. They don't know what thoughtful means. Men don't even know what thoughtful means. It's foreign to them. They're taught that flowers and chocolate are the answers.
Right.
It's profoundly ridiculous. So the opportunity exists for them to get real, which means opening up their heart to the love that they deserve and letting go of the inner child programming, the patriarchal mindset being pounded into them. You fell down, and if you cry, you're going to get it. No crying. God, I learned that one big time. It's just a carrying on of my warrior past. Oh, Rocky, I see you got half your arm cut off. You're not whining, are you? No, I'm not whining. So that kind of mindset. So,
Right.
yeah.
So, while you're talking about not suppressing emotions, right?
Yeah.
Men do it.
It's embedded into the consciousness of our entire planet.
It's not just men, it's even women. Like when you go to a healing session and somebody asks you to say the words, I am blank, right? You're saying those words, but the
You're not believing it.
Yeah, it's more than even believing it. You're not living it. You're not, right?
Yeah.
And you could say, I am love, I am love, I am love, but until you actually feel I am love and embody it, that's the word I was looking for, embody it. Are
And
you
a
really?
better way of describing this is blah, 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 blah. It has no energy, no frequency.
Mm-hmm.
It has to be intentional. It has to be from your right to receive love. It has to be profoundly you. And that's okay. You're allowed to go there now.
Right.
It's safe now. It's safe. There are many women who are doing a wonderful job of that and teaching that and everything else.
And then that implies that the person that's walking around that is you is a facade. It's not really you, right?
Well, it's all a facade when you think about it. I mean, half my life was a facade, really.
Yeah, for sure.
And I got lucky. I got thrown into the cauldron of hell, and I came out of it.
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
No, I don't want to live the cauldron of hell anymore. No, thank you.
Yeah. And that's why I guess we get thrown into the cauldron of hell.
In many ways, that's true, because Spirit says humans are what they are. They'd rather go to the edge of the cliff and almost fall off, or even fall off before they wake up.
Right. Because when you're in the cauldron of hell, that's when you start feeling.
You have no choice.
Right.
All of the negativity that is your personality, your belief systems, is right there in your face now. It's in your face.
Yeah.
You can't run away from it.
Yeah.
You can't. That's what depression is.
Right.
It's in your face. All of your disbelief in self is right there.
Right. Well, I'm coming to the end of questions for you.
Good.
Is there anything you want to share?
Well, I just would like to invite people to come and try my work.
Yes.
1 hour free. No qualms, no obligations. If you don't have the experience that you need to see the path to freedom, to stress-free, to pain-free, to anxiety-free, to stress-free, if you don't see the path, then walk away.
Right.
So people can contact me very easily at www.migraine1mastery.com. Migraine1mastery.com. On that front page is a form you can fill out it'll come to me, and it'll be in an email to have a free 1 hour healing session, and we'll arrange it. My phone number in Canada and the United States is 604-802-6390. Call me anytime. The rest of the world will have to do either a Zoom, or you can send an email to me at stressfreeme99@gmail.com. It's stressfreeme99@gmail.com.
It's really important to recognize that what Rocky's offering you, albeit 1 hour free, 1 hour of time in an individual's life is very, very valuable. I know this, you know this, and you as an audience know how important a 1 hour is in someone's life. And so it's free. And sometimes when things are free, people don't give it value. But
I'll see it right away. I'll see through it right away.
After you hear everything Rocky's talked about here, it's a lifetime of value. It's priceless.
It's about valuing yourself, finally.
Right.
What is your value? If I asked you that, most people go like, I don't know what the hell you're talking about.
Yeah.
You know, are you proud of yourself? Well, say it out loud to everybody. Everybody wants to hear, how proud are you? I'm really proud of myself. Really? Can you say that? Can you say that without crying, without going like choking up? These are ways to measure where you're at.
Right.
My job is welcome you back to your freedom, to your divine self, where what other people think doesn't matter anymore.
Take Rocky up on his 1 hour of free time. It's 1 hour of your time to receive a lifetime of healing.
And then after that,
And
I
see
do
the
offer
potential.
I do offer 8 sessions, and I do charge for that. I'm
Of
not going to tell you
course.
what I charge, but it's not a lot. Relative to the work that I do and the effectiveness of it, it's cheap.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, Rocky.
Thank you.
Thank you again.
It was, as usual, a great interview by the great Shiros. There we go.
Thank you, Rocky.
Thank you.